Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us on today's webinar. We're excited to use this time as another avenue to share some insights from the largest automotive study conducted to date. And it covers one of your most important digital assets, which is your Google business profile. To walk us through the good, the bad, and the ugly of what this study uncovered, I'm thrilled to introduce my colleague and SearchLab's Director of Brand Experience, Dane Seville. So Dane is an internationally recognized local SEO speaker and the producer of an award-winning podcast. He previously led our local SEO department and was recently promoted to guide us on brand experience across the board. But before his time here at SearchLab, Dane was the content director for a 33-store automotive group, which gives him deep practical insights into what truly moves the needle for the dealership visibility online. So Dane, we're excited to have you walk us through what you found. So let's get into it.
All right. Thanks, Brandy, for that introduction. I appreciate it. Everyone, thanks for watching, whether you're here live or whether you're watching post-show. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I've got we're coming up on the 4th of July, so I thought I'd put in a little bit of, Independence Day spirit. And I got my macho man flying under the flag there. So thank you for joining us. Again, this was really great. Gifford did the legwork on this. I just get to gab about it a little bit, but it is a really big study with a lot of data points. So I wanted to go in and extract some of the things I felt would be most pertinent for sharing with you and showcasing in the webinar. And then you can dive further into the study if you'd like. I have some links for you to go follow that. But 1,600 car dealer Google business profiles. We'll talk about the methodology. We'll talk about some overall sort of insights and outcomes. We'll look at some of what is, well, good. That's a relative term. And I'll talk about that when we get to the bad and why is it bad, and the ugly and why is it ugly. Plus a couple of tips for you as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. So as Brandy said, I'm Dane Seville. If you don't know me, Director of Brand Experience, former Director of SEO. I co-founded my own agency before coming to SearchLab as Director of Content. I was a Senior Copy Editor for a 33-store group, Department of Navy Communications Specialist, and, well, professional wrestler if you didn't know it. And there's one of my other bright-colored shirts. So, not a linear career, but a long time, about 20 years in digital marketing at this point. So how do we do it? How was this study brought together? Well, Greg partnered with Places Scout, leveraged Ahrefs, and used a number of keywords, right? Chevy dealer, Ford dealer, Jeep dealer, Kia dealer, used car dealer. We used some what are related to primary categories of your GBP that should drive traffic to your GBP landing page, which should be your home page. And while your home page should capture, if you're a Chevy dealer, Chevy dealership, Chevy dealer near me, Chevy dealer, all those different variants, you should capture that, right? And that should be a keyword on your landing page. So we want to associate some keywords with not only, a category of GBP, but also what should, where that traffic should go on your website. Then chose a number of cities. This is not limited to just these, right? There's a lot more, but Dallas, Houston, Chicago, Denver, Miami, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and so many more. And then looked at ranking data, used the Google's local finder, positions 1 through 20, and limit it to the main sales listing only. I can't talk today. I should have practiced this a few more times. Main sales listing only, and that is what distilled it down to 1,600 Google business profiles. So let's talk about some overall averages, right? What are some things that we saw kind of holistically that are important to keep in mind and that you can benchmark your own dealership against and go, hey, well, wait a minute. If this is the average and I'm below the average, that's not good. Or conversely, if I'm above the average, I'm pretty set, but there's probably some other things I might need to do to make the experience for the consumer even better, have things better in place for better visibility and ranking. So let's talk about what some of those are. Number one, we saw across all 16, and so this is across the whole set of 1,600 profiles, 88.9% claimed. And now remember, you can't get reviews, you can't do updates, or you can't really work on visibility and ranking without having the profile claimed. Fortunately, we saw the vast majority are claimed. And hopefully that you, if you're watching, your profile is claimed as well. That's sort of a basic fundamental first step, right? So still surprising that almost, about 11%, 12% of car dealers GBPs aren't claimed. A little scary. 66.9%. So, little slightly over 2/3 had a second category chosen. Now, categories are important because categories directly tell Google, hey, I am relevant for these types of non-branded category searches. So, still a majority, little concerning that only 66.9% had a second chosen, but hey, still pretty good. 5 categories chosen, so 50.6%. So now we're down to only half. Only half of 1,600 profiles had at least 5 categories chosen, and car dealers, by and large, can have up to 10 categories you can choose from. Was a car loan and finance, car leasing service, motor vehicle dealer, electric motor vehicle dealer, used car dealer, used truck dealer. Then whatever your brand is, Ford, Chevy, Honda, etc. So there are a number of sales categories that can get you up to about 10 categories. So only half had at least 5. And then when we get down to 10, when we get up to 10 categories, only 14%. So I hope that as you're looking at this, you're going, okay, guys, like we have 6 chosen. Oh, well, we can have up to 10. And well, maybe we need to push towards and enter that 14.3 and push those numbers up a bit. So again, categories help, they're part of the primary ranking factors with like relevance around the types of searches happening. So make sure that you are above these averages. Nested departments, only 38.8%. So a good bit less than half had nested departments. Now, Google, really, according to Google's eligibility, really, like your sales or service and parts listings really shouldn't be a thing, but they are. Google made an exception because they understand the searcher's intent is, when you're looking for service is different than you're looking for sales. When you're looking for parts is different than when you're looking for service is different when you're looking for sales. They made an exception. So we really should be taking advantage of this, guys, right? We really should be ensuring that we are nesting our sales and parts listings. So it's also important, not just because, hey, Google made this exception for us, let's make sure we take advantage of it, but because we can have up to 10 categories and because there's so many good sales categories related to car dealerships, well, there's a lot of service and parts categories that are relevant for your dealership. So you don't want to have service and parts categories on your sales listing. You want to have them segmented out on your service and parts. And also, what's probably more important, to me at least, is for the consumer. If I'm looking for service and your main sales listing comes up, that links to your homepage. Now I got to navigate to service center, or service scheduler. Then I get to finally where I want to go. Or, I call and it's the main sales number. That's not, now I got to get transferred, right? So, and hours of operation are different. So there's a number of factors in here that we want to understand how we can streamline the customer journey and get them to where they want to go with the least amount of resistance. So it's also about the consumer. Average review count, 1,347. Now, that's an average. There's no real true magic number. You just want to make sure that you are sourcing reviews consistently and have a good cadence, and that you're getting more reviews than your competitors, right? So 1,300 as an average is not a magic number. You shouldn't go, oh man, we need to have more. We have to have more than 1,300. But understand, look in the marketplace, look at your competitors, understand where you are, where you stand with how many reviews they have, and, well, outpace them. Average review rating of 3.9, 4.6 to 4.7 is kind of that Goldilocks zone, that sort of sweet zone. I understand we talk to businesses and they go, well, I want a 5.0. Well, that can look spammy, especially because you can look at some Google business profiles and you'll look and there will be a bunch of just 5 stars and no text to the review. And those reviewers have never left a review before, or maybe just 1 or 2 reviews. Look spammy, look suspicious, right? It's actually ironically okay to have some bad reviews. It's unrealistic that every single person is going to have a 5-star experience. Even if it's not necessarily your fault, they perceive something wrong. Let's be honest, right? People, there's going to be some misalignment occasionally. The important thing is that you respond to those reviews. You show people that you care about the experience. You try to rectify how that consumer felt things went wrong. So 4.6, 4.7 is a really good area. So we saw an average 3.9. Not great, guys. Average new reviews per month, 4.5. And percent of 4 to 5 stars reviews, 77%. 77.7, let me be accurate. And percent of 1 to 3 stars, 22.3%. So again, try to get those 4 and 5s. Those 1s and 3s are going to get peppered in. Just respond well, respond responsibly, maturely. Don't attack them, right? Again, this is a customer-facing interaction. Let's make sure that everyone sees that we care about what happens at your business. And the new reviews of 4.5 per month, again, that's not a magic number. You don't go, well, now we got to shoot for 5. We have to do 5 or 6. Again, just make sure you have a regular cadence. You have good follow-up. You have good processes in place to capture those reviews. And let me just caveat that too and say it's good to get other reviews on other platforms too. So the more you can kind of source reviews also in different areas, AI overviews, ChatGPT and other LLMs, even though that's a fraction of it's like 1% of traffic. Just have that in mind as adoption and search behaviors change. But again, Google's still the dominant player. Aim for Google Business Profile first. And then, of course, if that customer is really enthusiastic, try to get them on DealerRater and, other platforms as well. Now, let's talk about the website, because the website is associated with your GBP, right? Your GBP sales listing should link to your homepage on your website. Here are some averages about that GBP landing page. Only 42.5% had auto dealer schema. Again, talking about AI mode, AI overviews, talking about LLMs like ChatGPT, that schema really helps parse out the data and structure it in a way that those algorithms, those AIs, right, understand who and what and where. So again, it helps delineate that information. It's another layer, right? Does that mean all of a sudden you put schema on the website, now you're just blowing up gangbusters? No, but it is definitely something you need to have in place. Just like if you have free FAQs on a blog, FAQ schema, right? So make sure that you're understanding schema markup for different areas on your site. But I'm tangenting, right? I'm digressing. We want to make sure that with your homepage, you have auto dealer schema on that page. Really bad that less than half have it on there. Only 42% had the keyword searched for on the landing page. So again, that primary keyword of like for dealer, less than half of all those different dealerships had for dealer had the keyword on the landing page. Again, different elements need to be optimized for the right type of queries and what are those core keywords, and then semantically related, contextually related, ancillary, secondary keywords. But going back to that core keyword, only 42% had that core keyword on the landing page. Not good. Average nonstop word counts, average word count without actual meaningful words, about 738 words total. So again, not bad. There's a lot of details we can add about a Ford dealer, Chevy dealer, and what it is that they do and how they operate and what they offer. Probably get a little bit more out of that than 738, but hey, at least it's better than there were some that had no words on the homepage at all. So 738, a lot better than that, guys. And an average number of inbound linking domains, meaning how many unique other websites were linking to the car dealership homepage, 200 domain, I should say, 245. So again, franchise dealership, a lot of content, a lot of links can come from different associations, from the OEM site, right? There's a lot of ways to source links. We typically want to see around, closer to that 600 mark, but 245 as the average. So again, you can go analyze your own website, take a look, SEMrush, Ahrefs, see what's going on with your linking domains, your inbound links, and here's an average for you. Just like look at your homepage, get that word count, see how you can expand on that. Again, information gain is a really important aspect of understanding how to craft every page of content on your site, from your homepage to your informational blogs. So again, Again, focusing on the consumer and capturing a greater variety of different types of search terms as well. So those are averages. Let's take a look at some of the good. Now, what's good? That's relative. Let's at least compare the number 1 ranked GBP with the number 10 ranked GBP, because I wouldn't say some of these statistics are good, but they're good overall in terms of, hey, this is sort of a shared trait of number 1 ranked GBPs, but we can always do better. All right. So cars for sale, right? The inventory cars for sale displayed on the GBP, number 1 ranked had 86%. Number 10 ranked had 54% of them had cars for sale. So again, you can see number 1, greater number are taking advantage of the feature, the product of cars for sale to display their inventory. So again, this isn't a ranking factor, but taking advantage of all features that Google is offering, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? The more content, the more engagements we can get, the more conversion opportunities we can provide and take advantage of, the better. So again, this doesn't mean you add cars for sale and all of a sudden you're ranked number 1. It's gangbusters. No, but it's another avenue to help convert customers, even if they don't necessarily click through and view all the VDP information. They scroll the carousel and they click to call you because they saw a general vehicle they liked, or they come to the website to investigate further. Again, let's take advantage of all those features, whether they're a ranking factor or a conversion factor. Again, going back to sales and parts, service and parts nested listings, what percent had them? 58% in the number 1 spot had separated departments, and 29% in that 10th spot. So again, we can do better, right? With that number 1 spot, just because, only 58% have those nested listings, we shouldn't go, whoa, we don't have to have it. So again, we don't have to focus on that. And I saw a question come in. I will get to that because I actually have some stuff about posts as well as some tips as well. So a great question, and we'll get to that in just a bit. So I'll make sure I don't miss out on that. How about average review count? Number 1 ranked 2,381 average reviews. Number 10th, 1,100. Now that review score is a direct ranking factor. Again, you don't have to go, oh my God, I'm not even close to 2,381. Again, look in your market. Look at your competitors. How are you pacing against them? Just understand, typically, the more reviews and the better the review score, the better it's going to help with ranking. And so how about review rating? What's the average rating? Number 1, a 4.1. Number 10th ranked GBP on average of 3.7. Again, 4.6 to 4.7 is so that Goldilocks zone, but we can still see, 3.7 to 4.1 isn't that big of a leap, but you can see the potential impact it can have between being 10th and being 1st. So again, even though 4.1 is the good, we can still do better. And an average new reviews in the last year, number 1 ranked 39, number 10th ranked average of 17. Again, I want to impress upon you. I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. But again, this isn't like a magic number. Competitors, how are you doing? How are you pacing? How are you faring? Oh, I have this twice on here. I should have deleted this slide. I don't know what happened there. I apologize for that. Now we're going to go to the bad. So what's bad? All right. 16% of dealerships chose car dealer as the primary category. Bad move. If you're a Ford dealer, you're a Chevy dealer, you're a Honda dealer, you want your primary category to be the brand dealer. Again, your primary category, the primary sort of core of who you are is you're representing that brand. You should not use a generic car dealer as your primary category. It can be a secondary category. And like we said, you can have up to 10 total categories. The primary category really should be the brand that you're representing. 33%, so 1/3 of all of the GBPs had just one category selected. And only, again, 14.3%, there's 10 categories. So again, that's not good, right? That's bad. Why is that bad? You're missing out on telling Google you're relevant for other non-branded category searches. People are looking for used cars, used trucks. You're not saying, hey, you're not raising your hand and saying, look, I'm relevant for this. So again, it's bad because you're missing out on the opportunity. You're leaving consumers off the table for you to connect with them. Again, 39% did not have department listings set up. Already kind of talked about that in those averages. 3.9 average Google review rating. So that's the average, right? We were comparing number 1 to number 10. Here's the average overall, 3.9. Not looking good. It's bad. Again, review score, rating, review count, both go into the ranking system of showing you to consumers, because, of course, Google wants to make sure that who they show ultimately is more likely going to give the consumer a good experience. So, again, bring those ratings up. That's bad. And then 24.1% did not have a responsive website. That's bad because Google's page experience update in 2022 penalizes websites that are not responsive. And nearly a quarter of all those GBPs are linked to a website that is not responsive. That's bad. That's very bad. And then, again, 57.5 did not have auto dealer schema markup. Again, that schema markup is vital in today's sort of emerging LLM AI search ecosystem. So about the ugly. What's ugly? Well, 58% did not have the search for keyword on the GBP landing page. How would you not have the words Ford dealer, Chevy dealer, Honda dealer on your homepage linked from your website? And people are looking for Ford dealer, Honda dealer, Chevy dealer near me, city, state. So again, this is really ugly, folks. Like, this is really bad. And then if you don't even have brand a dealer on your homepage, whether that's an internal team, or maybe you're not doing SEO at all, or you have an agency partner. If you have an internal team or an agency partner and you don't have your primary keyword on your landing page that that brings up the GBP, I'd be concerned about the rest of the strategy happening on your site. Your new and used inventory pages, your service pages, your blog content. Is it just what I call fluff garbage, where they're justifying their existence by just giving you content, especially content at scale and AI content? But that's a whole other tangent we won't get into today. But again, make sure you audit your stuff, right? Like, you don't have to be an SEO to go on your homepage of your website and look to make sure that you have the entities of your brand and the word dealer or dealership and variations of that on your homepage. So again, easy check you can do yourselves. Average of 359 out of 8,204 keywords where the dealership ranked in the top 3. So a fraction of the keywords that the dealership is ranking for ranked in the top 3 spots. Again, there's an association between, even though, yes, it is true, there are a lot of citations in Google AI overviews that are not in the top 5, top 10 even, but there is an association. And I did an AI overview study as well, and I did a webinar about AI overviews a few months ago, in which at minimum, one of the top 3 citations shown natively in that panel associated with the AI overview were in the top 5 ranking positions. Typically, 2 of 3 were in the top 5. And then you would pepper in other sources that had the content chunked out and parsed out well for AI to be able to parse it out and read it and pull it out, extract it for the AI overview. But again, a fraction where dealerships are ranking in the top 3 spots for highly associated car dealer keywords. 1 out of 10 GBPs were not claimed. Ooh, that is ugly. Right? So, I mean, it's a percentage, 1 out of 10, right? 10% might go, oh, Dan, it's only 10%. That's a pretty big percent to not even have claimed the GBP, to be aggregating reviews, making posts, doing things that engage with consumers. 138 of 1,600 GBP profiles didn't even have a website linked to. That is really ugly, right? You're not even getting that equity of consumers who found you in the local pack to click through your website. And here's why also that matters. Again, we have this big hullabaloo about Google AI overviews and AI mode and ChatGPT, LLMs, etc. Well, focusing on Google, because it's still the dominant player, for car dealer searches, and it's funny, we did 1,600 GBPs. I did a 1,600 query research on AI overviews. Of all transactional searches that triggered an AI overview, it was only 3%. So only 3% of transactional searches triggered an AI overview, meaning the majority of times for transactional searches, for 97% of the time, Google showed the map pack, the local pack, and the traditional 10 blue links. So again, let's make sure we have that website listed. And Mike is a really cool guy, which, Mike, I have not forgotten about your question. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And here's really ugly. How about this? Audit your GBP categories. You can use a website called Plepper, P-L-E-P-E-R, Plepper. You look at what categories there are. They update them. They update their system regularly to make sure they have what categories are available. But audit, right? You can use George Nenny's GMB Spy. So shout out to George Nenny. You can use the GMB Spy to look at what categories are chosen for you. It's a Chrome extension. Audit your categories, because we saw in this study, car dealerships selected for car manufacturer. No. Chauffeur service? I mean, unless they offer it, but no, that wasn't happening. Car service, car appraiser, AC repair service establishment, battery store. So there's some really ugly stuff happening out there. Now, tactics. Before we move forward, because I will have a tactic about Google Posts, but let's go ahead and address the first question that came out is, how do Google Business Profile posts affect rankings? Google Business Profile posts, they're not a ranking factor. They are a conversion factor. They're a conversion opportunity. However, I say that with also saying that, let's say you create Google posts that get good engagements. People are clicking on your call to action on your post, landing on your website, engaging with your site. Google sees that people are, they're converting, good time on site, good scroll depth. I mean, Google sees those engagements. So Google posts, just making posts isn't a direct ranking factor, but creating posts that are relevant to the consumer that drives them through to the website, which your dealership website is the only place your competitor's inventory is not. And then because it's so highly relevant to what they wanted and what they click through, they land on a highly relevant landing page and you get engagements, you're going to see a net positive impact in your ranking. So again, posts of themselves are not a direct ranking factor, but highly relevant posts that get good engagements can lead to better ranking overall. So here's some tactics of sort of combating some things that can be pretty negative for a car dealership. So default of order of reviews, and I'll get to the follow-up question in just a second. Default order of reviews, meaning when you land on and you see the Google Business Profile without clicking like newest or most relevant, the default view of reviews with photos, reviews with more text, reviews with 2 or more upvotes, help the review stay in the default longer. So if you see that a negative review is now taking place in the default view, go back to one of your customers who you recently left a review, right? Because now it's going to be fresh in their minds, right? They just had the good experience. Ask them to, hey, did you happen to take a photo? Can you take a photo of your car and add it to your review? Can you edit your review and add a little more context to it? Hey, can you have some friends upvote your review? You can kind of, I won't say the word manipulate, right? But you can help ensure that you have some degree of control the narrative around your dealership, right? So again, doing that. So I'm going to pause there and I'm going to ask the follow-up. So posts are totally worth keeping current and frequent. Then yes, I think they are. We recommend a cadence of 1 per week, just because that panel just kind of, the post stays there natively visible for around 7 days. So I always recommend 1 of 2 things. One, actually, let me just get to that and I'll just give you some of the other tactics to do that for the post. But yes, totally worth continuing to create them. Make sure you're putting on UTM codes on the links for the post, because you can then in analytics see which of your content, what context of posts are driving the most highly engaged sessions to the website. Page elements to optimize. Remember, in SEO, it's a game of aggregate, right? It's about applying best practices on every element on every web page. You don't just change one thing and all of a sudden, again, like I said earlier, oh, you had a used car category, now it's gangbusters. No, right? This is a game of aggregate. It's a long-term game. This is SEO is like a solar panel. PPC is like a light switch. It takes time to build up that energy, but you got to make sure you have the right amount of panels and the right technology to drive that energy, right? So title tags, H1 headings, your page content, the URL structure, your image alt text, your meta description should all have, right, that primary keyword and where it is that you're operating, right? Because you're a local business working in that local modifier consistently everywhere is going to make sure that things are optimized correctly and capturing the right type of demand and search intent that page is aimed for. And then here, Google Posts. Treat Google Posts like ads, not like your standard social media. Yes, offers, Wendy. Yes, events, Wendy. You want to treat it like it's like a sales celebration, right? So make sure that you're treating it like more like an ad than just general organic social media. So you can use sales events, offers, things like that. I also say look at where you have the most highly engaged sessions. So where on your site are the most highly engaged sessions happening? What is the content on that page where those sessions are happening? And maybe you can glean based on what that content is, what is that they're engaging with, and then you can make sure that you can parlay that into a Google post. Let's use data to help hopefully try to drive some more highly engaged sessions through to the website. So those are some tactics for you as well. So yes, Wendy, I love QR code it. People can scan it, go right to the GBP. I absolutely love those tips. So you can read the full study. I thought I put in a bit.ly link here. Did I do a double slide again? I'm sorry. If you just type in SearchLab Digital, like if you just Google SearchLab Digital Car Dealer GBP study, it'll come up as the #1 result. I thought I bit.ly linked it if you just kind of write it down or screenshot it real quick. There we go. Oh, and others. I did it on the second slide. So that first bit.ly link, the one that ends in 9Q, that's to the Google or GBP study. But we also have other studies, right? And there's other great content on the PPC side as well from one of our colleagues, Susan Yen. But that second bit.ly link that ends in SQ, that's for my Google AI overview study that, again, it was 1,600 search queries. I manually looked at what are the shared traits of the top citations. I have a follow-up piece of content to write because we applied some of those learnings and saw some good results. So, swing by the SearchLab Digital website and plenty of ungated free content assets for you to leverage. So, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. And Brandy, if you don't mind, I brought you back to the stage. If you don't mind closing us out here because my voice is a little tired.
Of course. Thank you, Dane. That was awesome. I swear I always learn something new from you, whether it's webinars or demos or whatever we're on together. You always teach me something. So I love when we get to connect. But before we officially wrap up here, we just want to give everyone here a quick opportunity to take the next step. So on your screen, you will see a QR code. Go ahead and scan that to claim your free Google Business Profile and website audit. This is our way of helping you identify exactly where you stand and then where there's some room for improvement. But on behalf of all of us here at SearchLab, we really appreciate you guys joining us today. And we hope that you're walking away with some valuable takeaways. And we're here if you need help putting them into action. But you guys take care and we'll see you next time.
Thank you all.